Hi everybody, I hope that you are doing well. Hold on one second. I'm going to share this to my group real quick and let some people get caught up and hop on if they want to. All right, I hope that everybody's doing great today. I'm a little sweaty. I went for a big workout today and hiking in the woods, and it was wonderful, but I'm also exhausted, so I apologize in advance for that, and my hair's all sweaty and everything, but that's okay. All right, guys, so one of the things that I want to talk about is something that is really, really near and dear to my heart, okay? And this is emotional regulation. So one of the things that I've experienced throughout my lifetime is really severe depression, really severe anxiety, really severe feelings of hopelessness and loss, and they lasted for a really long time. It felt like it was something that I would never be able to dig myself out of, okay? And I started getting really scared to act. I started getting really scared that I was going to be disappointed again. If something good started happening in my life, I would jump ahead and just assume that it was going to be bad, or I'd be like tell myself that like I wouldn't be able to overcome it if something bad happened. For example, if this bad thing happens again, or if I have another heartbreak, or if I have another loss, I just can't get attached to it because if I do, then bad things are going to happen. In a lot of ways, I kind of stopped living my life for a while because I was just so scared. Like I was so depressed. I felt so hopeless, and I felt like things were just never going to get better. I don't know where to start with this. I'm sorry. But basically what happens to us, and I will tell you, I did get on the other side of that, and that was not my reality. And I did go through things, and I did get my heart broken again, and things happened to me again, and things did get better. Things were able to get better. But it took me a lot of time and a lot of distance to kind of start to really understand what was truly going on with me, and what was going on in my emotional experience. And also how I was letting my emotional experience stop me from manifesting a better future and a better reality. Because of course, if you are not living your life, if you're paralyzed by fear, if you're hiding in your closet, if you're not interacting with new people, if you're not trying new things, you're probably not going to be moving forward much in your life, okay? And for me, a lot of what was going on was I was experiencing really, really intense emotions. And a lot of us who are empathic, a lot of us who are creative, a lot of us who are sensitive tend to have stronger emotions to begin with. But whenever we've been through trauma, that really intensifies our emotional experience. So if you've been through a lot of shit, especially in childhood, or if you've had a lot of loss, if you've had a lot of grief, if you've had a lot of depression, if you've had a lot of heartbreak, if you've had a lot of heartache, then those emotions tend to intensify because of what happens in our brains. So whenever we go through something that we feel is bad or that puts us on our stress alert, it activates our sympathetic nervous system so that we go into like our fight or flight response. So whenever we go into our fight or flight response, it comes from years of evolutionary history. We're back in like the jungle with the lions. And whenever we were, just like in that time frame, we were really trying to get away from whatever threats that we could evolutionarily. So we developed a really intense, like emotional signal that danger was coming whenever we started to like evolve as a species. So even though we're not being chased by lions anymore, we still have that really, really strong emotional reaction sometimes. And it's designed to keep us safe because we don't have a lot of time to think through whenever we need to get out of a situation. We need to like get out or the lion's going to eat us. So unfortunately, that is carried with us now, and to things that might not be quote unquote life threatening, whenever we've been through a lot of trauma, that means that our sympathetic nervous system is more activated all the time, and that becomes our normal, and those stress hormones are running through our bodies all the time. And because they're running through our bodies all the time, we start to feel an intensity of emotion that clouds our entire judgment of everything because it's all that we can see. It's not in its proper place. It's not just protecting us. It starts to overtake our entire life, okay? So a lot of times, whenever we've been through a lot of trauma, a lot of heartbreak, and a lot of disappointment, we have these really intense emotions on top of this fear of experiencing those emotions again, because those bad emotions that we had, quote unquote bad, the heartbreak, the grief, the loss, all of that kind of stuff, that's something we don't want to experience again. Because whenever you've been through that, I trust me, I tell you, whenever I tell you this, I have been through this. I felt that depth of emotion to the bottom of the core of my soul, and I felt like I could never ever get better, and I didn't want to be alive, and all of that kind of stuff. It was deep. I'm not trying to like be dramatic about it, but I'm telling you that was my experience in the moment. I've fortunately been able to move past that because I was wrong. My emotions were lying to me. There was hope. Things could get better. Things did get better, and there was joy and happiness again. And And even though I was disappointed again, because that's what life does, it disappoints us, I was able to get through it because I was strong enough and because I had the tools. So what we have to do to start to combat this and to start to like work on our emotional experience is we have to start observing our emotions like the observer that we are, because we are not our emotions. When they're really intense, when they're really extreme, we start to feel our emotions like this is the reality of the world. Like, it's not just this sad thing is happening to me, it's we are sadness. I'm not just angry, I am anger. Like, everything is terrible. It's not that I am feeling a certain way, it's that everything is terrible, because we start looking through everything through this emotional lens, right? And then that clouds our experience, and we get so scared of feeling sad again that we actually make ourselves sad and upset before we start feeling the feeling. Like, even before we get disappointed, even before the bad thing happens, but even before the heartbreak or the grief or whatever, we start to feel sad because we're so scared of this happening to us again. So we start, it's actually, the clinical term for it in therapy is symptom distress. So we actually get distressed because we feel like we might be feeling distress in the future. Now, when you put it that way, you can tell it's kind of silly, right? Why are we letting ourselves be upset about something that isn't even happening yet? Like, if it's going to happen, we're going to have to deal with it then. But right now, we don't have to be upset about it yet, right? And that's something that it's really hard to break that pattern of, though. I don't know about you guys, but I have a lot of people who would say things like, oh, you just have to think positively or be happy. It is not that simple whenever you've been through a lot of trauma. It is not that simple whenever you've been traumatized. It takes a lot of learning, it takes a lot of retraining your brain, and it takes a lot of time and effort and practice in order to put those emotions back in the space that you need to do. So that's part of what I discovered mindfulness to be for me, is the tool that enabled me to kind of slow down my brain and retrain my brain and retrain the way that I experience my emotions. Unfortunately, I can't lie to you, suffering did not end, and suffering isn't going to end just because you start meditating or because you start being mindful. However, your experience of life changes, and your ability to deal with the things that come your way changes, and you start to see the big picture, and the big picture is not that all is sadness and that there's no hope and all is lost. The big picture is you can get through anything that happens to you. And I can tell you from the bottom of my soul, I have been to the deepest pits of despair in the bottom of my heart, and I bounce back and I'm happier than I've ever been. Even though the things that I thought that I needed to happen for me to be happy never did happen, I was still able to find that happiness elsewhere. But it took a lot of work. It took a lot of understanding the human psyche. It took a lot of examining my cognitive distortions, which is, my phone's gonna die, so I can't get into that today, but we will tomorrow probably. It took a lot of examining my own stuff, and then also rewiring my brain by resetting it and getting myself out of autopilot and out of the ways I used to do, which I took from mindfulness and meditation. And that's what I want to help teach you guys, which is why I'm doing this challenge next week, where we are going to start, first of all, interrupting the autopilot by meditating and doing mindfulness exercises, but also really starting to understand our emotional experience, the way we think, the way that our distorted thinking causes us to be more upset than we need to be. And I'm not saying this to invalidate your emotions, because emotions are important and they're real, and I feel your pain and I see you and I feel for you because I've been there and I know how hard it was, and I know that I thought that I would never get out of them myself. But I am saying this as someone who has been through it, and I want to help other people see that you don't have to stay in that space forever. And if I had somebody who was guiding me through it whenever I was going through it, it probably wouldn't have taken me as many years as it did. It took a long time. I'm a slow learner, though, to be fair. So that's kind of what we have to do whenever we have this trauma reaction. We have to do something to pave a new pathway in our brain, because our brain is going to go to what it knows, and what it knows is like an enhanced feeling system, because we want to keep ourselves safe. And unfortunately, as we move through life, that no longer serves us, and we keep creating bad experiences, because those decisions we make in the split of a moment, those emotions that we decide, and we close down on opportunities that might still be open to us, or not realize that there might be new and different things out there. That's what keeps us stuck, and that's what keeps us sad. And then we start repeating these cycles of sad emotions whenever we could stop them. It just takes some work. So next week, mindfulness meditation challenge. We're going to do 5-day challenge. We're going to do a free course in my group. If you're interested, comment below. I don't have a sign up link yet, but I'll get that soon, and we'll get everybody signed up. And then we're going to start working together on the best way to work through all of this stuff. And we're going to start retraining our brains, and we're going to start thinking better, and we're going to start feeling better. And we are going to start seeing the hope that is on the other side. And we're going to start taking back our power in the present moment to see that we can create new experiences for ourselves, because our past is not a snapshot of our future. We can always create a different future. We can always create a different reality. It just sucks because it's really hard when you've been through a shitty past to imagine something even better, but we'll work on that. So, all right. I love you guys very much. I hope to see you soon. Please join my mindfulness challenge, and I will be back on live probably tomorrow to talk some more about some of this stuff. All right. Bye-bye.